Yes. Yes, sir, you can.
So, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, okay. So first of all, thank you, Renuka ma'am and principal of the school for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, so one thing I would like to share is, yes, when you are in school, you have like ma'am and sir and everybody. But as you grow up, all your professors slowly start becoming your friends. So there is no such thing as sir or ma'am there. So everybody are friends, and at this point in time, even my guide is learning from me. Even my supervisor is learning a lot of things from me, and vice versa. So yeah, it's slightly weird when someone calls me sir, but it's okay. So let me just share my screen and
This voice cue.
get going with the presentation. So you can hear me, right? So just let me know if
Your
my
voice
voice
is
is
little
breaking
cracking, I think.
because I
Little
have
cracking.
connected through a hotspot.
Okay.
Okay, so I will I'll speak slowly so that there is no issue. So I mean, there's this unfortunate thing that happened some time ago. Okay, so I'm here today to share my journey, and so I guess all the students here are from class 10th, right?
9 and 10, sir.
9 and 10. Yeah.
Hello?
9
and
and
9
10.
and 10.
Okay, okay, great. So yes, so there are got it. So now you guys have doors wide open to a uh, wide, I would say, different kinds of careers. But I would just focus on what I did. Okay, and since I am an engineering student and pursuing my later work also in engineering, so I would stick to that. So obviously it's
Sorry to
not
interrupt, sir.
like
Your voice is little
other
breaking.
disciplines like
Sir, sorry to say this. Yes, I think he got disconnected.
okay.
Venkatesh, sir, your voice is breaking. You can switch off your video to get that proper coverage, I think. Yes.
Huh. So what I wanted to say that I am going to focus on uh, mostly engineering stream and what I did there. Obviously, other streams such as commerce and arts or humanities are definitely worth for with that. I would just help you with engineering today. So
Okay.
is my voice okay now? I hope
Yes,
it's
better, sir. Better.
not so bad. So so this is the thing. I mean, why would you want to listen to me today? So it's almost like I have relived you guys and relived. So till 10th, I mean, what is it that you see? Okay, you see your friends getting good marks. You may see a friend failing a grade, or you may see someone doing some achievements like getting a medal or something like that. But as you grow older, you can see a lot of different things. For example, have already earned a lot in their jobs. A lot of them got frustrated and changed their careers. I mean, some of them who were pursuing PhDs just dropped the PhDs and probably started up. So there are a lot of things uh, that happen. I mean, your playground just grows once you get older, as you get older. And you can imagine, I mean, someone age of your dad might have imagined so many things. So, I mean, might have experienced so many things. So that's why you should probably listen to me and probably your seniors too. So okay, so let me go ahead. So, since this session is about like learning from experts, so I just wanted to shed light on, I mean, who is an expert? I mean, there is a quote by Suzuki. So in beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the experts, there are a few. So what do we mean by that? So do you want to have a beginner's mind always, or do you want to have an expert's mind?
Right.
So this, I mean, this would have been much better if we had an interactive session. So that all of you guys could answer, but it's okay. So I would just leave this to you guys and think upon it. The answer is definitely not easy. I mean, when I first read this, so this is from a book actually. So I thought, yes, I wanted to be an expert. Okay. So I want to solve problems quickly. I want to be the best guy. But turns out the answer is the other way around. You need to have a beginner's mind at every point in time, so that you don't miss any dimension. Okay, so this is something deep, so let's just leave it at the moment, but you can think on it later.
Okay.
Now, before we go ahead, I have just put together a graphic here. So until you complete your engineering, okay, so most of your journey is streamlined, or I would say until you can complete your bachelor's. Okay, so just a second. I have some notes written. Okay, anyway. So until you complete your bachelor's, most of your journey is streamlined. And
Right.
after that, you get a bit confused on what to do. Like there are, you might get placed somewhere, you may want to build your own company, or you may want to study further. But let us come to that, how to take these decisions, or what all things, if you do, would help you in taking a decision. So I guess if you have any questions regarding which streams are better or which streams have more scope, so I will not talk about that. If you guys have any questions, I will try to answer them later. So let me go to the next slide. So when I was putting this PPT together, I just thought that I completed my schooling in 2009, and it's almost more than 10 years now. So what is it that I could have done better then, or what was I doing when I was your age? So when I think, so I feel overall I was relaxed at that time. I was not thinking much about career. I think our parents are much more excited about our career than ourselves. So I was pretty relaxed then, and I knew that I wanted to pursue engineering. I wanted to do something in mechanical engineering or electronics or something like that. So why did I feel that way? So I'm going to play a video.
So voice is breaking, sir.
So this is something I did in standard 6th. You guys see the video?
So your voice is breaking. You are not
See the
audible.
video?
Hmm.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm streaming a video here. So just let me know if you can see that video. So can you see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I liked to make prototypes. Okay. I like to make working prototypes. So this is just one of the examples what I had made from scrap. Okay, so this is me in 6th. And so let me just show you a few more things. For example, this is a mixer blender, okay, which runs on a AA cell battery. Then this is a gearbox which I took out of a toy car, and then this is a ropeway. Or so I guess you got the idea.
Right.
Yes.
So I liked making things. Now different children like different things. Someone might like sketching, someone might like photography or other things. So I kind of knew what I wanted to do. Now this may not happen with everybody, but now if you explore more, then you may be able to know that. So at this point in time, when you are in school, I mean, you guys are almost completing your schooling, but you should try and explore doing a lot of things. Now, for example, I had done a project in measuring biodiversity of a forest. What all different kinds of trees are there? I mean, we had to estimate total mass of a forest. I mean, how heavy is a forest? I mean, how heavy is a tree? So there are different things you can do. I mean, I like to do these technical things. I did something in biology, something in a futurology, a prediction kind of project. So what I had done there was we wanted to estimate what is the amount of letters the General Post Office in Pune can handle in next 5 years. So when we did the study, the GPO or the post office was handling something around some 50,000 letters per week or something like that. And would this number go up or would this number go down with newer services and etc. So what I wanted to say is you should try doing projects in different areas. And yes, you should also try doing, I mean, you should also continue your interests. So if I go back to 10th, and if I have to think that what is it that I could have done better? I mean, what is it that I could have done so that I would do better right now? So there's nothing much that I find. So fortunately, say I am happy now. So okay, till 10th, everything was good. So I just wish that I knew something like Arduino. You guys have these printed circuit boards and a lot of things right now. Hello?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so you guys need to try whatever latest technology you have. You should use it. I mean, if money is not a problem, if school provides you, then you should get your hands on to the latest technology available right now. Because by the time you are professionals, it would be say 10 more years or at least 5 more years. If you do a pure sciences bachelor's, 3 years plus 2 years, 11th and 12th. So in at least 5 years, things change a lot. So if you get to know what is the latest trend, which suits you. I mean, if you are into drawing, then you may want to draw pictures on graphic tablets, or you have touch screens now. I mean, you try and get used to whatever latest technology is there. That's what I want to say. And then you may find it useful after a while.
Okay.
So after then came 11th and 12th. So these were the most stressful years in my life until now. I mean, which were the worst years of your life. Then these would be 11th and 12th. So I don't want to instill fear in your mind, but 11th and 12th are two years where you really need to perform. So before I went to junior college, as we say, or high school, I would like to know that I did a small internship. Okay, a free internship. I mean, I didn't get paid for it, but I just visited a two-wheelers workshop and helped people in repairing motorcycles. So again, you guys can try doing something what you want in vacations, or you could just play some sports, but make use of vacation, I would say. Don't try and just sit at home and watch movies, or I would say don't just sit at home. Okay, go at some place, interact with people. Uh, so that is good. Now, so when I went into junior college, I was already into a coaching academy, IIT coaching academy, because I knew I wanted to do something in engineering, and so that was the way, going into an IIT class. But yes, definitely, I won't tell you that you need to study and all those things. Those are definitely there. But again, in hindsight, what I feel is I shouldn't have compared myself to the brightest of the students around. Since I was in, say, one of the most prestigious uh, this IIT coaching classes, definitely there were all bright students there, and I was not the brightest of them. But what happened is it kind of instilled fear in my mind that what will happen to me this in this cutthroat competition. I used to study a lot, but probably I didn't make the most of my coaching academy. So what I would like to say here is it's not about going into the best academy or the best institution. Just make sure you are comfortable wherever you go. Okay. And yeah, one of the things I feel is, yes, I should have spent a bit of less time on my cell phones or electronic devices. But I don't really know how this applies right now in the pandemic, because I think all your lives are revolving around screens at the moment.
Right.
But it's okay. So you can, again, I would say that yes, you need to continue sports along with whatever you are doing.
Right.
Someone may not be good at sports, but you still need to do something to keep your mind fresh. You may follow some hobby, like I told, I was doing photography. I was in 10th. I did a few things, but you need to pursue them without breaking the chain. Because what happens, you are a vibrant child till 10th, and suddenly all your creativity gets killed in 11th and 12th. Okay, a lot of these students find it back when they go to engineering or when they go to their bachelor's program. So I would just request you guys to continue whatever hobby you are pursuing. Okay. So this is
Sir,
something.
Sir, yes, Sharma?
sir, why
Yeah.
are you recommending us to pursue our hobbies after 12th?
We have a question, sir.
Okay, so what I'll do is I am just noting this down. Yeah. So I'm noting this down. So you said why to pursue hobbies.
Yeah, after 12th.
Okay. Yes. So I have written this down and I'll address this at the end. Okay.
Okay, sir, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, sure. I have noted it down. So
Sir,
next,
please put
after
your screen on full view mode, like the slide screen on view mode. Yes.
I can see my. Okay. Anyway, my notes there. But okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now everybody faces a lot of decision making after 12th. Because I think because there are a lot of disciplines here, like pure sciences, medical, engineering, and most of this decision gets forced through our peers or through our parents. So I would like to say that you should talk to as many seniors as possible. Okay. So say 5 years older than you, catch someone from your apartment, catch someone from your locality, maybe a school alumni. Okay, maybe school can do some efforts, if there are any alumni, or maybe some other alumni, that what are your seniors doing? Because your parents or someone like me, I'm still 10 years ahead of you, and uh, so you need to know what happens right now. So you may want to speak to someone who is pursuing engineering, who is pursuing medical sciences, who is pursuing arts, commerce, CA, like chartered accountancy, I don't know, CS, all kinds of courses. Some people do just bachelor's in management. So you need to talk to as many seniors as possible. So more than these career counselors or someone, you need to talk to seniors. They will give you the best idea of what is happening. Now, so when we take this decision of choosing what to do, there are two contradicting objectives in front of us. So one of them is, do I go to the best institute I can get, or do I choose what I want to do?
Your voice is cracking, sir. Sorry to interrupt.
So what I did is, I was sure that I wanted to do mechanical. That's why I stopped for a while. Yes. So I was sure I just put up mechanical engineering as my options after 12th. Like I couldn't get into IITs. I got some rank of, but whatever other places, so I just filled mechanical engineering there. There were a lot of more options there, like pure sciences, even other engineering branches too. But I had just filled in two branches, like two options there. I want to do mechanical engineering in Institute A and Institute B. So I was very firm. I was fixed on what I wanted to do, and yeah, it didn't go well with my parents. I mean, they thought that I should definitely give a try for other branches, but that's how I was at that point. And I think it was it was good that I stuck to discipline and not institute, because in long run, say you don't get into a good college, but then you would have learned what you love, and you can always do higher studies, or you always uh, land up a job where you can progress a lot. So personally, I would stick to a discipline that I like. And and when I think back, so again there is this hindsight arrow. Okay, so when I think back, there is, I mean, you should not probably turn down 100% institute, I mean the institute part of your decision. If there is a quantum leap, for example, if you are going to get into ISER or IIT or any other prestigious institutions, in exchange of a uh, slightly less liked branch, then it's at this point in time, I think you may want to prefer institute there, because the culture matters too. Okay, if you get into a too bad institute, or people where I mean an institute where people are ignorant, then that also affects you. You need to be focused a lot, but then, I mean, it's difficult. So if there is a quantum leap, I mean, if it's a comparison between a college in, say, Pune versus IIT, if there is a quantum leap, then yes, you may want to think on choosing institute instead of branch. So it's a difficult duel there. But yes, one thing that I would say is, you may definitely want to get out of your home city or hometown after 12th, because you get exposed to a whole new environment. Okay, staying at home, you talk to same set of friends, you talk with people from same region, and it doesn't add much to you. Okay, so when I went to BITS Goa, I met people from a lot of different area. Okay, I mean, people from northeast prefer, people from southern states, a few people from Jammu. So all of their lives are quite different. Their schoolings are different. Their teachings are different, and a lot. I mean, you learn so many things from them you cannot do in your hometown or home city. So let me. So these are a few. So in a lot of competitions. So one of them is called in Robocon, and it's held in Pune. You students might be aware of it. So it was one of the great competitions that taught me and took me ahead in terms of leadership, in terms of building prototypes, in terms of executing our plans.
Right, sir.
Yeah. Then we built a kind of gun. Okay, in my institute days. So it's a funny video here. So this gun was supposed to fire, but that gun itself got disintegrated. So what I wanted to show through this is, if you, so I was into hardware. Okay, so this is my ground for experiments. So you should try all you can during your engineering life. And yeah, I mean, if money is not a problem, then definitely please explore. Okay, please buy different things, please build different things. If you are into software, then try different software. And I don't know, I mean, whichever field you choose, don't be conservative. Okay, don't be like, okay, I'll use second-hand books, I will not participate in some workshop, because I mean, yes, money is definitely a thing here which defines your exposure, but I guess whenever possible you should take it. Like, we organized an event out of this gun that we made, and there were many more things that we did. Now the reason I'm telling here is, yes, one thing that I did correct was studying the core engineering subjects, because I definitely liked them. And as I said, like, taking part in various competitions, that was one of the important things which shaped me. Okay, which has helped me until now. Okay, and also I took up some leadership roles in our department. I was the coordinator for our department. Like, you have these general secretaries and all, right? So I took up some leadership roles, and yes, that, because I liked, I mean, it depends, I mean, so these were the things which I liked. I mean, these were the highlights when I see back. Okay, when I see back at my engineering, I don't remember uh, say, only studying, but I do remember some bad days. But the best things that I remember was participating in competitions. Okay, so that's why I'm stressing it, because that shapes you a lot. I mean, that changes the things a lot. And as I said, uh, I should have spent some more time with people from, I mean, with students from other parts of the country. What happened is, at BITS Pilani Goa, I mean, 5 of us were here. I mean, 5 of my friends from Pune were there. I guess a lot more Marathi people were also there. And we used to hang out together. But now I realized, I mean, I'll come to that later. When I went for masters at IIT Madras, I didn't have any of my friends there from my school or from my city. So there I learned a lot from people from different parts of country, which I would say I would say I should have done more in my bachelor's. So when I completed my bachelor's, I was clear that I wanted to do further something in robotics, something in building hardware, and something like that. So again, you have two options there, as I said. So you have an option of doing job, or you can do masters. Now there is this new thing emerging, that is startups. That if you have a good idea, then you may want to commercialize it. Now, a lot of people don't understand what of students don't understand this thing is that startup is a lot about business, okay, and a lot about commercialization of your idea. And if you ask me, I would not really recommend doing a startup right after your bachelor's, because your idea may be good, you may probably file a patent or publish a paper, but there are a lot more things in business which you unnecessarily learn the hard way if you do it right after your engineering, because you have not entered the industry, you don't know much about business. What you know is only about technology. What you know only is that your idea is great if you have one. So it becomes, I mean, it's a bumpy ride ahead if you start right away after engineering. Now, definitely a good environment helps, but again, it's a path less taken. And I would like to stress that even if it is glamorous, it's not for everybody. Okay. So what I did was, I didn't have any, I mean, always wanted to do a startup or something like that, but I didn't have a good idea at that point in time. So that was not an option for me. So I got placed at a good company, Tata Motors, and I also had an offer at another company. But again, in a huge company, you have a small role to play, and you may not learn a lot there. Okay, so I turned down those offers. If I had got offer in a startup, say, okay, then I would have definitely worked. When I say startup, it may be a small company. Okay, so if I had got placed in a small company where uh, my role was slightly more impactful, or I would get to learn more, then I would have taken it up. But yeah, instead I chose to go for masters, and I applied for this. I appeared for this GATE examination, Graduate Aptitude Test in Engineering, and I had learned something from my 12th, that you need to have some exam-oriented approach when you are giving competitive exams. So that's what I did right there, and then cracked the exam. Again, this is a topic of discussion, that should you be I don't know exactly a word in English, but should you be a pariksharthi? I mean, should you just prepare for exams, or should you understand the subject well? So these are again competing things. But when it comes to appearing to an exam, and since we are in India, where there is cutthroat competition everywhere, I think you guys should definitely work. I mean, do focused work towards cracking exam, because just when you crack an exam, a lot of doors open to you. And this is what exactly happened to me when I cracked GATE. I got into IIT Madras, and I got into discipline of my choice. So you remember we had a duel here. Okay, so institutes versus discipline. But I didn't have it anymore, because I had cracked the exam and I had a very good rank. I had some rank of 300 out of 2 lakh people. So that gave me luxury of choosing both. And these two were definitely the best years of my life. And as I said, this is where the institute culture had a very good effect on me, because I, as I have just noted down here, I did a lot of things there. I mean, I got some medals in athletics. I ran a half marathon. I explored things beyond my discipline, and that's what an institute has impact on you. Okay, so this is what I did during my masters and a few months after that. So this is a quadruped robot. Okay, you guys might have seen this video of Boston Dynamics, you know, a quadruped robot going around places. So it is a pretty advanced version, but so this was something that we got after 3 months. Okay, 3 months is a very short time, but still we could achieve a lot. So this guy just did push-ups here, and so the students after me took over this project, and I guess now this robot can walk a bit. But at my time, even if this robot got loaded a bit more, it used to stop. So we used to conduct a lot of experiment. You see, this guy didn't even do a push-up with a tad more load. So all I wanted to show is I got exposed to a nice environment where I could build better things, more complex systems. So this is a test rig with a treadmill with a robot on it, and it's all work in progress. But you see, it was only done by me and a friend of mine. So as you grow, if you stick to your likings, then you can compound on your experience. You can compound on your learnings. If say I had taken up this hobby of building something only later in my life, then yes, I would have performed better, but I would have taken more time to do that. So right after masters, there is an interesting story. So again, you want to probably work in a company, or you want to study further. So what I chose was, I chose to join a startup or a fairly good company which would allow me to explore my area and work in that. Now it was, I mean, I was, so I would say I bloomed when I was in MTech. Okay, so people have different times when they start performing. So this was a time when I started performing, and then I got placed in a company which offered me, 18 lakhs package, and I had the biggest package in all my peers, even out of the branch peers. So, and we were all happy. I threw a costliest party there. And then what happened is that company had to close down in a couple of months. Again, a risk with small companies. And then I was doing a RA-ship, a research assistantship at 18,000 a month. So, if I ever write a book, I would like to name it like a story of 18 lakh to 18,000, and definitely back to 18 lakhs someday. So then, fortunately, as I said, I worked also in assistive devices. I joined a company named NeoMotion. Can you see this video?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I would also turn on voice. It's you see if you can hear it.
So you can share sound.
Pardon?
So you can share the sound in the share option. Share the sound in the view options, right? In the more options, sir, you will get there in the share screen.
Okay.
Share the sound.
कर सकते हैं और समय का बचत हो सकता है, क्योंकि अगर हम
ओनली व्हील चेयर यूज करते हैं तो हमारी समय ज़्यादा लग सकता है, बट वो गाड़ी जब सेट करने के बाद आसानी से हम जा सकते हैं एक स्थान से दूसरे स्थान, और जो कि उसमें पूरा स्ट्रॉन्ग है, मजबूत है, गाँव में चला सकते हैं। अगर गड्ढे ऊंचे नीचे हैं तो आसानी से चला सकते हैं। अभी हमको कोई डर नहीं है, हम कहीं भी जा सकते हैं।
See, I have a car that I drive. It's hand operated, but often the challenges that I face in terms of mobility is somebody to get your wheelchair, somebody to kind of load it, somebody to help you with the transfers. What NeoBolt does, what is the difference in terms of accessibility is, for example, going to a shop, a regular shop, what I often do is park the car somewhere. I can't get out. And if it's not nearby or if there's a traffic, then I'll have to park somewhere away, give a call to that guy, and if it's a known shop, okay, I might have the number, but otherwise, I'm just stuck. But this, I straight away go to the entrance of the shop and ask somebody to, kind of give whatever I want. Or even going to my parents' place, is a huge challenge. My parents' place is only 5 minutes away, but I'll still have to take the car. With this, I just, roll my wheelchair out, put the bolt on, straight away go there, and then get the bolt on out, get into the lift, and go to my parents' place. So that is what it does, the ease of accessibility. I think that's the key. This makes a world of difference to us. Wherever we want to go, just bolt on and just keep moving. Be it, a flyover or a ramp, I can easily negotiate a steep ramp, or even a threshold for that matter. 1 foot threshold with this wheel I can easily negotiate with, which I can't otherwise with just my wheelchair. Today when I was riding this, the feeling of the air coming and hitting on my face, I think that's the true sign of freedom and liberation. To go to the grocery shop or to the supermarket, now my wife is going to kick my backside and I have no excuses, absolutely.
So this is what I worked on during my journey at NeoMotion. So as you can see, when you're working in a startup, you have a very enthusiastic environment. So these were our
Your voice
first
is cracking.
set of I
Venkatesh
guess
sir, your voice is
6
cracking.
and 4 main videos made, and
Right.
we yeah. So the company or this is it okay now?
Yes, better.
So the company, I joined it, and so these were the first set of wheelchairs that we manufactured. And you can see we rented out this place and built this was our first assembly line. Okay, just chairs parked besides each other. And these are all our tools and all our spares here, right? And then you can see, okay, I'll come to this. And this is what had happened after 2 years, after 1.5 years. Okay, so you see the difference. If you are in a big company, you don't get to see, if you are in a big company, you don't get to see impact of your work. But here we were just 6 people to start with. And then after 1.5 years, we were a team of almost 22 people, 22 people, including the assembly laborers and all. So, and it was definitely a fun experience. And the only limit is your abilities. Okay. If your idea is good, if you're working on something relevant, then money, place, nothing can stop you. You can always win over all these problems, all these hurdles, and you get to perform at your fullest. So here is just one of the videos. No need for sound, I guess, but here is one of the so what this does is, this is a test rig for testing wheelchairs, and there's a 100 kg dummy sitting over here on the wheelchair, and these rollers simulate a bumpy road here. Even this test rig was built by us. And so you need to do a lot of testing, you need to do customer trials, and you learn a lot from all these things. You need to do quality check of every small thing that you give out, because as I said, startup means business. Startup means, I mean, if you're selling a product, people are paying you for something, and you cannot just give them out prototypes. If some wheel comes out, something goes bad, they are going to curse you. So this is like real life professional work. So along with fun, you have some responsibilities, and overall it's a very rewarding experience. And yes, I mean, there is no better experience I would say I ever had. I mean, I have done internship in a couple of giant companies like Mahindra or Tata Technologies, but this experience is the best. I mean, this is the product which you saw in the video, and it's out in the market now. Again, this photo illustrates that you have to try the product yourself. You have to understand the difficulties. You see, it's I mean, so easy things that we do day to day in our day-to-day life are difficult for the physically challenged. So there are a lot of things that you get to explore. This is one of the products that we were working on before I left the company. So this is wheelchair in India. Now, this is just a CAD here, but you can see, obviously, a few years ago, we had CAD of these things which you see, and then we turned it into reality. So I hope, again, this thing comes to reality someday. But so you learn to fill the gap between what you dream and what actually happens. So after 2 years, why did I leave this place? So I had a plan in mind that, again, as I said, I wanted to build something advanced. By now, I had learned a lot of things. So I had learned what I could from this company. I had designed and manufactured a lot of mechanical parts. I knew how to talk to people, customers, as well as suppliers. And I think my learning curve flattened there. So one option was to switch to another job. You could do something better, or you can study high, or you can pursue higher studies. So what I realized by this point in time is, wherever you go, a small company or big, you need to be aligned to the objectives of the company. Okay, definitely in a startup you get to explore a lot more, but it's all about alignment with the company. And that's when I decided that I don't want to align with a new company now. I just want to improve on myself. And then I chose to pursue my doctoral studies. So again, there is a different dual here. Now by this, so it's also about earning money by this time. It's not just about pursuing. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So
Yes.
by this time, I also wanted to earn some money. Okay, because a few of my friends who had joined Giants had good packages, and then I also wanted to earn. And then here I found a good opportunity which could bridge the gap. And I received this Prime Minister's Research Fellowship called PMRF Fellowship, which is definitely rewarding in terms of monetary benefits as well as research grants. And hence I chose to go ahead with my PhD right here in India. And I landed at IIT Kanpur. And again, I was very keen on doing what I wanted. I initially
So your voice is breaking again.
was planning to pursue my studies right at IIT Madras. But then, so I initially wanted to continue my doctoral studies at IIT Madras. But things turned out that I got admission somewhere else. And then again, when you want to stick to a single place for a long time, you when you interact with different kinds of people, people from different geographical regions, people from different disciplines, you get. And right now, I'm working on humanoid robots. So you guys might have seen this video of a humanoid doing parkour. So this is the latest research, or this is the state of the art in the field of what I have chosen. And it's definitely challenging. I'm not going to show you complete video because we don't have that much time, but I would just show what I have done in past, say, 6 months. So this is just a simple half robot. Okay, only the lower body of robot walking. So again, I learned a lot of coding. Though I was in mechanical engineering, I learned a lot of coding, and right now almost 100% of my time I do coding, because if you want to build a system that is even more advanced, you cannot just take mechanical parts and join them together. You need to put life through coding. Okay, so this is just a simple step, one step of the robot. And yes, I hope to do something even more advanced in this later. So concluding, what I want to share is you need to find what you like to do. You can take as much time as you want, but you should always be in pursuit to find your aim, your ultimate aim, not short-term aim, your ultimate aim. Earlier you find it, easier is your journey. Lesser you get confused. And you also need to be consistent with what you like, because it may happen that when you are in engineering, you may get wooed by some, this robotics, electronics, and all these things. And after a while, you may feel that, no, I am probably not good at it, or something like that. So you need to be consistent. Consistency definitely helps. And yes, last thing is the habit of taking long-term decisions. I mean, long-term decision making. You should not just think about next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You should try to think 10 years ahead. Okay, and that's how you probably feel better after 10 years. So now when I see, I don't regret a lot of decisions, but I do regret a few. Like I said, in 12th, I should have done a few more things, and probably in engineering, I should have done a few more things. But if you are aligned to your aim, then you won't have major regrets in your life. So, okay, that's it from me. Thank you for listening.
Yes, students, questions?
Yeah, so I think we had one question.
Right.
Why pursue hobbies after 12th?
Yes.
No.
Sharu?
Let me just stop share once.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes.
get
Yes,
more.
yes.
So can you tell me what is your hobby at the moment?
At the moment, I like to play guitar. Okay, and I like to play football.
Okay, so you like guitar and football. Okay, now when you are say doing engineering, okay, or you are pursuing pure sciences or something. Now definitely, so you are in 10th. So when I was in 10th, I used to study for, say, what, 3 hours a day maximum. I mean, effectively. When I went to engineering, it went up slightly, say 3-4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, including lectures. And what do you do rest of the time? You can't be studying all the time. You need to refresh your brain. Okay, you need to perform. And if you just do one thing the whole day, suppose you can't study whole day. Okay, what will you do when you get bored? You'll watch movies, you'll listen to songs. But these types of activities do not add anything to your personality or do not help you to get anywhere in life. And you may feel that watching a movie is rewarding. Okay, you will feel great. But you'll definitely experience this. I mean, you'd watch thousands of movies in engineering. You'd spend tens of hours watching TV serials and sitcoms. But after a while, you start feeling empty. Okay, you can't do it anymore. So at that point of time, you need a hobby. And what you will see is there would be few of your friends who would be performing great in guitar by that time. And then you would feel that, oh my God, I left. For example, I left tabla. Okay, I used to play tabla in 6th. Okay, now I did find a lot of brilliant people in engineering who would sing, play tabla, and also were almost 9.5 pointers. And then I would regret, oh my God, I didn't pursue tabla. I would have probably been this cool. So hobbies will help you this way.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Students, questions, please. 9th, 10th. Students?
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the model you showed us about the wheelchair, deep programming and all that. What kind of languages you use? Like, what kind of coding language you use the most?
So if you want to build a bare minimum product, then this Arduino is a C kind of language, so which is good.
Okay.
So I guess you would have learned a bit of C in school,
sir.
some basic programs. So if you build upon C, say you learn Python, and so C and Python, I would say, are good languages. So C, I mean, no more people use C. It's like C++. But these things you can pick up in engineering. C++, C are slightly difficult languages in terms of practicality. I mean, you cannot learn them and get something going. So Arduino is good and Python is good, I guess.
Okay. So what
So
about
one
Java?
question.
Yeah.
Hello? So what about Java?
Java, okay. So I don't know. I mean, if you have to pursue something in, say, hardcore computer science, web apps, then definitely that would be good. Okay, so I'm sorry. When I said about these languages, I told them in context of my career or something like what I did. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely pick up those. Frankly, I don't know much about development of software. Okay, as I am into development of hardware, so there is development of software. You can build your own game. So definitely, I mean, whatever is needed there, you can learn that. But overall, I think Python is a all-rounded thing which can be learned easily.
Okay.
So since you are in 10th now, I think it's easy. I mean, Python is definitely, you can pick it up easy.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
what is the platform where you code? Like,
So
Sir?
yeah.
To create our codes.
So I have done it across multiple platforms. For first was this Arduino has its own SDK or development platform. Then for that robot dog or that quadruped that I showed, so that programming was done in Linux directly. So it was a computer controlled thing. So then whatever research I'm doing right now, I use MATLAB and something called Mathematica. So there are a lot of things, but you need to first know what is it that you want to do, and the platform is decided according to that, based on your application.
Right, sir.
Venkatesh sir, we would like to know, like, what do you understand in lay terms, a humanoid robot, and what areas where we can apply them in our day-to-day life or all any areas?
So you see this robot dog. So I would just like some answers from audience. Like, have you seen that video of Boston Dynamics humanoid and robot dog?
No, sir. No, sir.
No? Oh, okay. Then you should right away go on internet and search Boston Dynamics. Okay. And then watch all of their videos. So look, so humanoids and all these, we call it legged locomotion. So what I'm working on is biped locomotion. Then there is quadruped locomotion. And all these are emerging markets. So at the moment, you don't have a market for this right away. Okay. But this quadruped robot, like a dog, which you see, has been used in construction industry. Then it has been used for surveillance operations in uneven terrain. Suppose you want to build a big plant, okay, say an oil refinery, and then initially the land is, there are lots of up and downs, and you may not be able to survey it in a car. So legged robots come there where wheeled robots cannot go. And also for space exploration, suppose now you are going to Moon or Mars or somewhere, legged locomotion or humanoids or four-legged robots are definitely better suited to those environments than wheeled robots. So, so this is one of the areas which does not have a business application right away, but that market is going to develop in next 20 years, say. Let me think of something. Say touchscreen. Okay, touchscreen didn't have a lot of application 10 years ago. But now touchscreen technology has so much of application. All our smartphones are touchscreen and all. So it's kind of emerging market.
Yes, sir.
Principal sir,
Yes.
would like to hear something from you. Yes.
No, let the first students ask questions.
Yes.
Children, few more questions.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, I have a doubt. Means I think you can give the answer for that question. That is, I have listened somewhere that a cyborg can be live. So, sir, is it right or wrong?
So, okay. So this is in the area of artificial intelligence, right?
Yes, sir.
So in artificial intelligence, there are two types. One is weak AI and one is strong AI. So examples of weak AI are like your OK Google or Siri or Amazon Alexa, or all these recommendations that you get on Amazon or YouTube based on what you watch or what you shop. So this is what is called weak AI. It is, the machine learns from what are your interests. Now, or even weak AI is your Tesla car, self-driving car is also an weak AI. Okay, So mostly these things are hard coded and their applications are limited. I mean, a Tesla car cannot just become live and drive anywhere as you see in movies, because it is, I would say, pretty stupid that way. But humans are way more brilliant, or what we call is strong AI. The strong AI is a lot advanced version of weak AI, where, I mean, it is a combination of weak AIs, and the machine should have consciousness, or machine should respond to every kind of input. It should be able to process every kind of input, right? So what is the definition of living organism, right? You might have learned it in school. I mean, something that responds to stimuli or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but that is the definition of a living object, or even a cell, or a small organism. So for a machine to respond to every kind of stimulus and process it and give output, we have not reached that step yet. Okay, there have been very brilliant machines. I mean, not brilliant, like say a machine playing chess. Okay, a chess playing robot can defeat human, but a chess playing robot cannot probably cook. Now a machine which has this widened consciousness or widened weak AIs, probably someday they could become a bit more intelligent, but what you are saying is still far apart. Probably when you grow old, you would be able to see something like that.
So
Probably
what
when
sir is saying is exactly, if you see, how many of you have seen the movie I, Robot?
No, sir.
Will Smith movie I, Robot. So in which a robot tries to save Will Smith while he was drowning in a river. At the same time, another girl, small girl, also drowns. So the robot calculates the percentage of survival and saves Will Smith, the character, instead of saving a little girl. But as a human being, we know that the little girl life is more precious, so we will try always to save the little girl than elder or older person. So that's why in that particular movie, Will Smith hates robots because it only calculates. The emotion part of it is not there.
right,
Are you
right.
getting it?
Yes, sir.
So it's so the emotions. A day will come where that's what they say. AI will can do anything and everything whatever human being could do or can do. That's what they are saying it. So let us wait for it, and you can be a part of it, and you can create your own future with AI.
So I would just like to add one thing. Okay, the small fact. Huh. So human brain has around 1 billion of neurons. Okay, 10 to the power 9 neurons. Okay, and the best computing power we have right now with processing units is not even close to millions. Okay, so this is like 10 to the power 3 or 1,000 times more. What we have in our brain, I mean, the processing power that we have in brain. Our brain might be slow. Okay, our brain works only at 100 hertz, while your computers may be working at gigahertz. But the processing units, the parallel processing units, are way more than what we can imagine at the moment.
Sir, my personal question to you.
Yeah.
So the overall presentation I was seeing, and it tells me that you have spent a considerable time in thinking about your life, the decisions you have made. all these things. So
Yeah,
how
yeah.
was this experience to you to prepare the slides with all those going back to your from childhood to what you are today? So how was this experience for you, or how is this experience you feel now?
Yeah, okay, thank you for the question. And yes, definitely thank you for this opportunity also, because I have been doing this from yesterday actually. So I think yesterday I spent some 4 or 5 hours on this, and today since morning. So and a few more days collecting photos. So this experience helped me in a way to think about future, because sometimes you need to consciously see what decisions you have taken until now in order to decide what you want to do further. Okay, and it was definitely great in terms of uh, uh, I would say I was a bit relieved that okay, I don't regret much of my past life until now. So I was happy about that. Uh, because I definitely have a few friends who regret the patch of 4 to 5 years of engineering. I mean, someone asked like, why pursue hobbies? I know a friend who left engineering midway and went to a photography course in Delhi, and now works in a big photography firm. And these people definitely regret some parts of their lives. But this experience, thankfully, until now, I'm happy. So that's a bit of a joy. And yeah, and it also gives you confidence, saying that, yeah, I have done so many things, so I can definitely do a few things further, because, PhD is definitely challenging. It's it's not a degree which can be completed in given time. Say it's unlike masters or bachelors. You cannot get over it in 3 years or 2 years or 5 years. I mean, unless you find out something new, however small that might be. So you don't get this degree. So you definitely need some confidence in order to proceed. So that's what I think I got from this presentation.
So so you said about your feelings, whatever your thoughts, your decisions. So how was your parents support or reactions uh, or throughout your career, or guidance, or not having the guidance?
So my dad is from sports background, and he has been an inspiration, as I said, uh, in my extracurricular activities. And my mom is from science background. So, and their encouragement has been one of the biggest things in my life. And you definitely need support of your parents. You cannot go against them all the time in your life. Uh, Fortunately, I mean, you see in 3 Idiots, like parents not allowing their wards to follow their uh, follow their passion. But my dad bought me a camera worth almost a lakh rupees when I was in 10th. I mean, no one would do that. Uh, just so that, I mean, to pursue photography. I was doing quite well, but and that kind of encouraged me. As I said, it small actions from your parents of encouragement would go a long way, because when you are doing something, for example, if I'm writing code, if I am building something, then there are tough situations where you may want to quit, uh, where your prototype does not work, where everything falls apart. Like in startup, at some point in time, we felt that how would we even sell these things? How would we able to compete? And at that time, even a small, even a sentence of encouragement from your parents goes a long way. And I have been very fortunate that way to get support of my parents uh, here. I mean, yes, I definitely dedicated my master's thesis to my parents. So I have been lucky there.
Okay.
Only,
Sir,
only
yeah.
at one place, I would say, I mentioned it that when I chose my engineering branch, like my dad was a bit, he was not angry, but he was a bit disappointed on my decision to not apply to a lot of other disciplines or not to apply to a lot of colleges. And he thought that I was doing something stupid. But then he soon realized, no, that I have conviction because I showed a consistency. That's why probably he understood that, no, this guy has conviction. And later on, I mean, he never doubted me. So what I would like to tell to students is, if you are firm on something, then you should show consistency for some time. Only then your parents will believe you. You cannot expect them to believe you all the time.
Well said, sir. Right.
So today you are where you are. So if you look back, when because we are addressing to class 9, 10 students. So when you look back at the age of class 9 and 10, so do you think that you could have done something better or done differently than what you did when you were in class 9 and 10?
Huh. So as I said, I would just list a few things that I did right. And though the answer may not be informative, I am really pretty happy with what I did in 10th, 9th and 10th. Okay. So I really don't think that I should have done something more, but I would just list things that I did so that you guys can compare. Students can compare themselves too. So first thing, I played a lot of sports. Okay. I didn't just study because your brain can't literally concentrate. Your brain can't concentrate for more than an hour. Okay. You definitely need breaks. And sports definitely refreshes your brain a lot. Or even a hobby. If not sports, some hobby, drawing or whatever. Even playing music. That is what I did. Then in 9th, I definitely did a lot of projects. So I did a biodiversity related project, as I said. So there is this competition named National Children's Science Congress. So I don't know if it's still there, but so I was fortunate enough to meet Dr. Kalam at the national rounds of that. So I did a biodiversity project. I did a technical project. I built a working prototype. So all I wanted to say is, along with studying, I did a lot of other things. And one thing definitely I didn't do is, I mean, we didn't have definitely laptops at that time, even computers. I had a computer when I was in 10th, but I spent uh, very little time on gadgets. So you can see, because all your education is now based on gadgets. So I would definitely stress that please go out and uh,
Explore.
experience the weather, experience the outside world. So let me just remember if there was anything else that I am missing. So I mean, students should, yes, I regret one thing. Yes, I did not read a lot of books. Okay. So in our school, we definitely had some assignments related to reading. I mean, I mean, this was extracurricular thing that I had at Nan Prabodhini. And it was not just about reading English books, but reading Marathi books, Hindi books, English books. So you guys should also develop a habit of reading books. So probably this is something, I mean, to answer your question, this is something that I should have done more. reading books other than, yes, not your science and maths and geography books, different, anything, whatever you like, fiction, non-fiction, whatever. Yeah, read more books.
Fine, sir. Children, any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So, Venkatesh sir, thank you very much for your valuable session and sharing your life journey to our students. It was really, it was wonderful to know you through your journey and through your accomplishments and your struggles and hurdles. And I hope the students learned something from an IITN who shared his experiences so vividly and keeping students in mind. So whatever you shared, it actually is a takeaway for each of my children. So we thank you for your session and your time, valuable time. And we hope and pray that the research what you do also will be beneficial for humanity as a whole, and also your contribution for whatever field you are going to be in is going to be valuable. That we could see the dedication of yours. So thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your wonderful time with us. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, students.
Thank you.
On behalf of
Thank
Khuda
you, sir.
International School, Talegaon, students, I'd like to thank Venkatesh Ashtekar, sir, for sharing. Thank you, sir, for sharing your life's experiences, setting such a great example in front of students that they are sure are definitely motivated to think out of the box and be creative in whichever field that they choose. And happy to even share and proud to say, expert is my cousin brother, sir. So really happy. Thank you so much, sir.
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone. Thank you, principal, sir, teachers, and all the students. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Shall I end the meeting, Ananya, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. We'll end the meet.
Yes,
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Have a nice day, sir.
Have a nice day.